This is Dan DeBesever, the only Triple Crown champion in the UFC history. And you're watching the Sports Courier. You better watch, otherwise I know where you live.
Richani here for thesportscourier.com with the nature boy, Bjorn Rebney. How you doing?
Doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. And what did you think about tonight? Bellator 54, great night of fights, and really capped off an awesome fight with Alexander Shlemenko, Brian Rogers. A little bit of a debatable stoppage. According to some, what do you think?
I think it was an awesome fight. I mean, I think back and forth it was a spectacular fight, but I don't really have much problem with the stoppage. I think Brian was real smart. He was trying to get his hands down and prevent against the knees going to the head. But man, when the hands came up, those knees started to go, and they were solid, and they were right to his head, and he looked wobbly. He got caught with a couple of shots. It was a great fight. I don't have an issue with the stoppage. I think it was a good stoppage, but I can't wait to see Brian fight again. I mean, Alexander is spectacular. I can't wait to see Rogers fight again as well. So. And
any thoughts on the hair controversy? I know Brian talked about it a little bit, at the press conference and everything, but Alex was like, dude, you have dreads that are kind of in the way of your neck.
Yeah, I mean, Brian Rogers has got a very thick mane of hair with the dreads, and I don't know. I didn't see it. I mean, I'd have to go back and look at it. I know Brian was a little bit disgruntled by it, but I'd have to take a look at the video. From what I saw, it didn't look to play a huge role, but you never know. I mean, let me take a look, but I didn't see it from where I was sitting Kate's side.
And I know you've been having some of your fighters appear in Impact Wrestling. We talked about that last time. I had the Nature Boy reference. And tomorrow in Philly, not too far from AC, is Bound for Glory, today's big pay-per-view. Are you planning on attending that?
I'm trying to change my plans right now to be there. I would love to be there. I'm a huge wrestling fan, and of course, Eddie's been on Impact. Joe Warren's been on Impact. We got two more guys that are coming in to be on Impact. So,
anybody that could be involved in any storylines?
I don't know. You'll have to wait and see. Yeah. But it's just they put on a great show. It's an awesome show. It's magical. It's fun. It's exciting. So yeah, I mean, I'm just hopeful. Hope against hope she gets her company back. So
yeah. Hope you're coming back, Dixie Carter. And who's your favorite? Who's your favorite wrestler growing up? Because we talked about your favorite fighters, how about your favorite boxers in the past. Who are your favorite wrestlers that really drew you in? Because there are a lot of comparisons between MMA and wrestling. I mean, you think there is a big crossover between fans? I
don't know how much the crossover exists between fans. I mean, they're both fun for the different reasons that they're fun. Obviously, I grew up in an era. I mean, it's amazing to say it, but Hulk was huge when I was growing up. Like a monster huge when I was growing up, and now Hulk is still huge, and he's doing the same stuff he was doing when I was like a kid, and I'm not a baby. You know what I mean? I'm 45 years old, so I can remember watching Hulk when I was coming up as a kid, and he's still rocking and rolling, doing it at the highest level. So, and he'll be doing it, tomorrow night. So I mean, that's the guy that jumps out at me, of course. So.
Yeah, I saw Hulk Hogan versus Sting when I was 8. So yeah, kind of makes me feel old. And preview next week, Bellator 55 got a great card. I mean, first I'll actually ask you, because I didn't get a chance to before. Joe Warren, he's great fighter and everything, your featherweight champion, but does like to talk a lot of smack. Maybe talked a little too much smack to Vila. I mean, how surprised are you that he got finished in the fashion he did? Because he's one of the top guys.
I wasn't. I was surprised Joe got knocked out, but I wasn't surprised the way that the fight ended. Villa is a monster. I mean, his wrestling is as good as anybody's in mixed martial. Well, perhaps not as good as Ben Askren's, but Olympic bronze medalist good. And his hands are just dynamite. I mean, he's got dynamite. If you've watched film of him, he doesn't fight fights like a wrestler. He fights like a guy with incredible stand-up. And man, we saw that left hook was one of the cleanest left hooks I've seen in the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, it was just he would have knocked out most 170-pounders with that left hook, and it was just right on the button. It was perfect, and it put Joe to sleep. But guys get knocked out. It's the nature of the beast. Joe will be back. He'll be back for a big fight against Pitbull, back up at his weight at 45. We'll see what happens.
Have you ever seen somebody fight as well as they did off their back as Ben Saunders?
No, and I'll tell you what shocks me about Saunders is that you look at and I had been told by Saunders and his people that he was that a lot of fighters when they lose, let me back up. A lot of fighters when they lose come to you and they go, well, I got this, I had that problem, I had this problem, and sometimes those stories are not exactly accurate. They just lost fights, and everybody kind of wants to figure out an excuse for fights that they lost. So it's just human nature. Saunders came in and he goes, look, trust me, I lost the Fitch fight, I lost some fights, my head wasn't there, I had a lot of issues going on. If you believe in me, I'm telling you, I will come back, I'll be one of the best 70-pounders in the world. wow.
And now he's 3-0 in Bellator.
Gee, but I mean, 3-0 in Bellator. The rubber, I mean, it's just, I haven't seen a rubber guard like that, maybe ever. He looked, and the guy that he submitted, Santos, is not a guy who's like a stand-up wizard who got caught on the ground. He's fighting against a world-class guy on the ground.
And he was a tough dude himself, only, barely tapped out to the heel lock.
Yeah, he had a heel lock that almost tore his entire arm off. So I can't tell you how impressed I am with Saunders right now. I think he looks amazingly tough. And we saw him on the ground. He looked so relaxed, but man, his stand-up is just wicked. So I'm a huge fan. He's got a big over-the-top personality. He's fun to watch fight. So I just huge fan.
And we chatted on this. Let's preview a couple weeks. Ben Askren and Jay Hieron. Going to be awesome fight for the welterweight championship. My friend Ben Oster, who's an amateur wrestling junkie, says he thinks Ben Askren might be the best welterweight in the world. Not named GSP right now. What do you think about him and Jay's chances against him, especially with that wrestling?
It's a tough fight. Ben Askren is an absolute monster. I mean, he's been training with Duke in Milwaukee, and he's working on his stand-up. I've said it many times. If Askren gets a stand-up game, he's the best welterweight in the world. He's
working with Duke Rufus.
Yeah, I mean, it could come, and if it does come, the guy's unstoppable. I mean, his takedowns are better than anybody in mixed martial arts. He's the most explosive, dynamic, aggressive wrestler we've got in the game today. If he puts a stand-up game with it, it's just he's gonna be a force. He's a force right now, and he's yet to display any kind of stand-up game. So I'm pretty impressed by him.
And where can fans follow you at Twitter? Because always got to plug your Twitter.
Bjorn Rebney. That's it. Yeah, I've actually started to apply myself and answer questions.
You still haven't tweeted me back. I'm a little offended, man.
I'll get on it. I'll do it tonight before I go to bed.
At Richani, man. Cheap plug. Yeah.
You got it. I'll do it.
Great. And who's your tailor? Because I feel like a little underdressed every time I'm around you and Brian Baker. Especially that bowler hat.
I got a dude in Chicago who takes care of me quite well. Now that I'm getting fatter and fatter, he has to unload my pants a little bit to give me a little bit more room around the waist of my jackets because I'm on the road all the time. But God willing, I'll be able to get myself back in shape.
Well, if I remember in Chi-Town, I'll holler right at you.
Boom.